Good morning, folks. It is, like a relatively warm, cold winter day in January. It's kind of like lows in the 20s. I think it's supposed to get up to about 55 or 60 degrees today, which is fine, but God, it starts off really cold. But I want to show you how I like to fish main lake deeper points. Probably gonna be fishing today 8 to 15 foot, and we're gonna be using a bait that you very rarely see me use on this channel. We are gonna be fishing a Carolina rig. You heard me right, a Carolina rig. I hate a Carolina rig. I don't like it. It's too much trouble to tie up. I just don't like throwing a Carolina rig. I'll throw anything. I love throwing plastics. You follow me. You know I love to throw a shaky head. I love to throw a Ned rig. I love to even throw a drop shot. Something about tying up that doggone Carolina rig with them 27 knots that you got to throw. And how to tie it, like it's very, it's just bleh. It's not, I can't do it. It's just bleh. But nevertheless, it's a good bait to catch fish on. It's good to catch numbers, and you can catch big fish on it. So we're gonna try it today. We're gonna fish some main lake points using a Carolina rig. Here's the setup. Let's just get into the setup right here. Let me just set the camera down and see if you can see everything pretty good. So on the business end, this is my rod and reel. I'm using a Favorite Pro series, and this is actually a 7'3" heavy action. Now you hear that word heavy action, and I don't want you to get too confused and think, wow, I need a broomstick. This heavy action rod, I'm gonna pull on it a little bit. I'm not sure if you can see it or not. I don't have a cameraman. I need my Cam with me today. Cam's not with me today. This heavy action rod has got a little bit of tip in it. I'm about to knock you all over here. It's got like, it's really more like a medium heavy power rod. It's really not a true heavy. So it's a great multi-purpose rod, this 7'3" Pro Series from Favorite. That's what I'll be using, okay? Then I'm pairing it up with this is a Lose Pro TI. I don't know, Pro TI 7.5 to 1 gear ratio reel. No, it doesn't really matter for this type of fishing. Maybe a little faster, help you get better hook penetration, hook sets. I am using a 1/2 ounce tungsten sinker. Now back in the day, we didn't have tungsten. Back in the day, you had a big old piece of lead in here, and you had you had green beads for clear water, you had a big old orange bead for dirty water. That's not really what they were for, but you had a big old bead that we used to put on in front of, between the knot, between the sinker and the swivel. And we used to say that protects the knot. Well, folks, let me tell you, if you need protection from your knot on your tungsten, your line sucks, all right? So we also used to say that bead made noise, so you drag it on the bottom and it made noise. That thing didn't make no noise, it was plastic. So you don't have to have all that. If you want to put a bead in there because you believe it protects your knot, throw it on there. Put 2 of them up on there if you want to. Get real fancy and get one of them glass beads like what we used to use. 1/2 ounce sinker. That was a big old cat just crossed the yard, so that's why I got distracted. Then I'm using, I'm not sure if you can see it, this is my swivel that's not going in focused right there. It's just a swivel. I don't know what size it is. I don't know if it's number 3, 4, 5. That doesn't matter. A Carolina rig is where your weight is separated from your hook. So the swivel actually stops your sinker for sliding down to where your hook is, okay? If you don't know what a Carolina rig is, it stops it, keeps it separated, okay? So a lot of people will use what's called a Carolina keeper. I will never use the Carolina keeper for a Carolina rig. The reason being is a couple things. I'm gonna be fishing around some rocky points today. If my lead gets kind of hung in some rocky points and I'm fishing it back, then that Carolina keeper is not going to secure my line to where my sinker doesn't move back down the line. Carolina keeper is just a piece of rubber that you put on here. You don't need to use that. That's a cheap way to get out of using a Carolina rig. I don't like it at all. Use a swivel. I already don't like the technique, so now I use a swivel. You can use the same pound test fluorocarbon leader. I'm using about 24 inches. And what you can do is use smaller line if you want to. For me, I am using 15-pound test, 17-pound main leader and 15-pound test leader materials. 24 inches, you can do that, you don't have to. Now for my connection knots on both ends of the top of the swivel, the bottom of the swivel, and to my hook, I'm actually using Palomar knots on all 3 knots. You heard me right, all 3 knots. There's 3 knots in this presentation. So many knots that I didn't even want to do it in the video because I suck at it so bad that I couldn't film and make the freaking knots too. So that is the setup. Let's get out here and get her done, buddy. If I don't see any fish right here, then I'll move on pretty quickly. All right, let's get rigged up here. 4/0, little straight shank, 6-inch lizard. I dipped the tail in chartreuse because that's cute. All right, so I'm gonna make a cast out here. I'm trying to cast in about 7 to 10 foot is what I'm trying to do. And you know, you just kind of use it as a search bait, really. You throw it out there, you drag it on the bottom. It's really that simple. I could make it sound complicated, but that's all it is. I point my rod down at the water like that. I just pull it along real slowly. Just like that, just short pulls till I get a bite.
I knew it. I knew it. Oh, did he turn it loose? No, he got it. I knew it. I knew I didn't trust it. I did not trust it one bit. Did not trust it one bit. Cold like that, they get a little, you try to get smart. Let's put you in here. So I got so much junk in there. I didn't. It's a little rough patch right there. As soon as it comes over that rough patch, that's where they are.
Use it when you find a spot. You can find schools of fish with this thing. Like, you can find big groups of fish with a Carolina rig, and then sometimes you can use the Carolina rig as a gateway lure to catch fish on other baits. Top waters, jerk baits, crankbaits. You can use it. You can use that as a gateway bait to find the fish and then catch them on something else. You can see watch my rod tip. You can see how my rod tip's doing. You can tell what's out there. Here's a bite.
That's why I let it go there. Some of them are small. He bit it. I hit him too. Huh? He bit it. Look, he barely had it. That's why I didn't catch that first one. He's gonna be cutting it on 14. I think he's good. Yeah, he's 14. He's 15. He's 15. Cousin come out here with the old school Carolina rig lizard.
See, what I got here is very simple. I usually use a little bit shorter Carolina rig because it's just easier to throw.
They'll be there. And they ain't gonna do all that fancy for a little bit. And sometimes they will, but a lot of times they won't.
Anytime you fish these places, there's always like just a little bit of spot on, like a spot where you gotta cast because the bottom composition is just right for you to get bit. That's what I'm feeling for. Yeah, just kind of point my rod down at the bottom, down towards the water. Just pull it along. That's all it is to it. Very simple way of fishing. Just pull it right along. And when you feel one, like,
that's a better one. That's a better one. Nope, it's not that much better, but That one actually might not measure. That one actually might not measure that time. But it's a start. He is 15. It's a start, nonetheless. I think that's just small ones, but we'll make sure. I don't have that many more places left. Anything else? I need to try stuff though.
You can really feel it's like one little rough spot out here on this point. I don't know whether it's rock. I don't know whether that's a little bit of sand, but just about, that's what I like to feel for with this Carolina rig is, you know, you're really, as much as you're feeling for a bite, you're feeling for bottom composition, grass, any kind of transition from bigger to smaller rock. You really kind of feel with your hands what you might see down there. I know that sounds wild.
That's bite. That's a big one. That's a big, that's a better one. That's why you gotta stay around sometimes. That's why you gotta hang around sometimes. He ain't that big, but he's acting like he's 5 pounds. It's a 2.5 pounder. Yeah, I like that kind. I like that kind. He'll help me. Definitely help me. I have another buoy that's just sticking with it for the rest of the day. Because if I could, I'd say 11 is safer. Because them other ones ain't, them smaller ones just ain't no size.
So that was a long day on the water and doing something that I typically don't do, which is fishing a Carolina rig. But you can see that it does catch a lot of fish if you got the patience to pick it up. And I'll pick it up when they're gonna go ahead and bite it, like how they were today. But I had fun. I stayed out there all the way to dark. I didn't film the whole day, but I stayed all the way to dark catching fish on the Carolina hoo-hoo. If you like these style videos, check out the playlist that I'll put in the description box and the comments, and you can see more videos like this on how to fish specific baits, how to retrieve certain lures, and how to rig them and the right equipment to use. Check out the Tackle Talk playlist, or just check out the description box and the comment section. I'll make sure you guys can link up with them there. All right, appreciate it.